And we are here, ladies and gentlemen, for round number 3 of the Gym Challenge Midseason Showdown. I am once again Jesus Coronel, joining alongside me, Joe Matisse, once again. And for round number 3, we have familiar faces, we have standard matchups, we have a little bit about power here between Grant Weldon and Erik Holmstrom. And we're getting straight into the team preview immediately. Grant, on the screen, is going to have the Tornadoes Incarnate, the Reggie Drago, Rillaboom, Urshifu Rapid Strike, for Regraph and Heatran, and for Erik, it's Chen Pao, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Ogerpon Heartflame, Dragonite, Amoonguss, and King Gambit.
Yeah, we see a lot of really powerful Pokemon here. It's our first Reggie Drago of the day. Reggie Drago does a ton of damage with that ability Dragon's Maw that boosts its dragon attacks by 50%, and top of that, Dragon Fang. So it does even more damage with those really powerful dragon moves. And Grant also has Farigiraf, which is going to be a little bit of a pain for Erik, as Farigiraf with Armor Tail stops Dragonite's extreme speed, stops Sucker Punch from Chen Pao, stops all those priority moves.
Yeah, all those priority moves can be a problem for Grant if he doesn't have a way to deal with it, because Reggie Drago loses quite a decent amount of power if you don't get access to your dragon energy as quickly as you can, which is why you see things like Tornadoes alongside your team. So Grant's been piloting this team for quite a long time in this regulation. I'm sure he's had a lot of fun with the Reggie Drago.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting team to see. I'm really excited to see our first Ogerpon Heartflame possibly also come into effect. That is such a powerful Pokemon when it doesn't have to deal with things that are good against it. Grant obviously has some answers for it. He's got the Tornadoes, Bleak and Storm might be able to handle that. I do see Heatran there with Flash Fire, so...
Although it wouldn't be that great against Ogerpon because of the Mold Breaker ability, and we're going straight into the battle here. Erik in the lead, Chen Pao, Amoonguss, and Grant's going to lead Tornadoes and Heatran, so we have two different variations here, as Sword of Ruin is going to lower the defense of all Pokemon in play, which will really only help itself at this very moment, but...
Yeah, Chen Pao is pretty good.
Sorry about that.
We may be seeing let's say a Rillaboom possibly come in here to do something with that Chen Pao possibly after Amoonguss. Put something to sleep possibly. Does that Amoonguss have Rage Powder? It does have Rage Powder, so that's another possibility, is to do some redirection here and make give the Chen Pao a little longer to survive. We see the Terra here. Amoonguss Terra's Water.
It is Terra Water, so we are not going to be worrying about the Bleak Wind Storm being super effective, or the Heat Wave, at the matter of fact, but Heatran protecting before it gets a chance to hit. Tailwind does get set for Grant, so he will have to speed control for the Heatran on the later turns. Now to see what the Chen Pao did here. Went for the Ice Spinner into this Tornadoes, but as we've seen it from previous times... Oh, never mind, it actually ends up surviving the hit. Yeah, with that Ice Spinner and the Spore straight into the protected Heatran.
Yeah, I've seen a few Tornadoes bulked up to survive those Ice Spinners. Interesting to see what he does this turn if he clicks into the Bleak Wind Storm, it looks like. And then we are going to switch out. We're going to switch in here.
I mean, if you switch it for Regraph for the Heatran slot, it kind of protects you around Sacred Sword, but it also just helps you with the Sucker Punch, because with Tailwind, you're actually super effective. I mean, you have the speed priority against Chen Pao, which you need the Sucker Punch to combat that, but because of that, yeah, basically. And Armor Tail tried to Sucker Punch into the Tornadoes, but it cannot do so. Bleak Wind Storm gets a critical hit on the Chen Pao. It says a speed drop on the Amoonguss as well, but Spore does connect onto Regraph, and the moment it switches in, it goes to sleep.
Yeah, might not be the worst thing in the world though. Farigiraf, I mean, some of Farigraph's job is just to sit there and have Armor Tail, and it gets to still use that when it's asleep. We'll see if he switches out the Tornadoes here.
No, Tornadoes still going to get to knock out the Chen Pao, not because of that critical hit, mind you.
It's a good point. So he switched out the Farigiraf.
Reggie Drago coming in here. Did Erik read that?
Did he read it? Exactly. Does he still push Sucker Punch?
No, he's going to scare it away with the Chen Pao switching out for Erik. In comes King Gambit.
Ooh. I don't see any Intimidate on the other side.
You do see Bleak Wind Storm. Now, it does have a chance to activate Defiant if he has a speed drop. Oh, there it is!
He gets it! Oh my goodness, King Gambit gets that Defiant attack boost, and now it's +2 attack. So.
And there's the Citrus Berry on Amoonguss, 50% HP. Gonna heal off a bit of health.
Yeah, I wonder whether Grant would have not hit Bleak Wind Storm there if he had realized Defiant Gambit was coming in.
Well, Tornadoes now falls asleep, so that gives King Gambit a lot of free reign to go for that Cloud Tower Cleave with the Black Glasses and the Defiant boost.
Does. Yeah, you can't Terra because he's used the Terra already. We'll see.
Well,
Reggie
Drago's the only thing that can really do damage to it, but I do not think a nerf power does enough to knock it out.
Yeah, super effective though, but not probably not quite enough. We'll see whether we just do the Dragon Energy or something else. But I don't know. Do you think the King Gambit can knock out the Regidrago in one hit?
I think so with a Sucker Punch if it does elect to go for that, but if this is a switch out from Tornadus to Farigiraf, that play is gone.
Now the Sucker Punch is gone. Let's see, what else does he have on the King Gambit? He does have Kowtow Cleave, but that probably moves after.
Yeah, he does move after, and Drago, and no, Amunga's going to switch out for a Gem Pal, so inadvertently gets it to sort of ruin to give it another defense drop, but as we see here, no Sucker Punch, in comes the Dragon Energy, and that does knock out the Gem Pal, but doesn't do a whole lot of damage to the King Gambit.
Alright, well, let's see what the King Gambit's doing. He did not do Sucker Punch.
It is going to be the Kowtow Cleave into the Regidrago. How much damage is it doing? A one-hit knockout.
There's not much that can survive Black Glass's Kowtow Cleave with a +2 attack.
And Tailwind's gone for Grant, and Tornadus is all asleep without a single turn to take it. And Heatran is going to have to be coming in for Grant. And he has to deal with the fact that he has two Pokemon in play that is yet to take a turn of sleep.
Yeah, let's see if...
And Dragonite is Eric's last Pokemon.
Let's see what the Heatran can do here. Now, Dragonite can't use Extreme Speed here, obviously, but it does still have some pretty powerful moves.
Yeah, notably, notably that's Stomping Tantrum. Although Grant still has his Terra. Terra Fairy could be pretty nice if you were continuing with the fact that this King Gambit also has Iron Head.
Yeah, Heat Wave unfortunately doesn't do almost anything to Dragonite because Dragonite's got the Assault Vest on.
And it's a Dragon type, so it will be resistant.
Exactly, yeah. Between those two things,
I mean, it could just be like you had to knock out the King Gambit. Most importantly, at this point, I had to assume, as Grant's going to lock in his Terra, this is going to be Terra Fairy Heatran coming in.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got that's going to do damage to the Dragonite. Heatran really can't do much. For Rigoraph, Dazzling Gleam, I guess, if it wakes up, but...
Is he have to take a turn of sleep at that very moment. King Gambit just going to protect here. Make sure it doesn't faint to a Heat Wave that could be potentially coming out here, which does land onto King Gambit's Protect. Does it land on the Dragonite? It does.
It's damage it does.
Well, that's not a lot. Does it get a burn? No, it doesn't. And that's a Life Orb on the Heatran as well. Farigiraf will take its first turn of sleep here. What's going to be the move here? Stomping Tantrum into what was a super effective Heatran now does around 30%.
Yeah, so he's, of course, going to use the Dazzling Gleam here. We'll see if Farigiraf wakes up. Might? No? Probably has to push Heat Wave again, right, to deal with the King Gambit. It's the bigger threat.
And King Gambit is just going to switch out because if you're going to lose just King Gambit to a Heat Wave, probably would not want to do that right now. As Amungus, the safer switching with that Terra Water.
Yeah, Terra Water, Amungus isn't going to take too much to this Heat Wave here.
Yeah, not a whole lot of damage.
Farigiraf wakes up.
It takes the second turn of sleep.
Not wake up.
That's a little unfortunate right there. King Gambit, Dragonite going to click Aerial Ace. It is putting Heatran into knockout range. Now, again, this comes down to whether or not Farigiraf wakes up, but Amunga is sitting pretty and could be into Spore for the rest of the game. And Heatran just going to protect.
Yeah, it might be looking at Amunga's putting a sleep on the Heatran there, so... And
that's a third turn of sleep for Farigiraf. That's not what you want to see from Grant. Although, okay, Aerial Ace goes into the protect, so would have not been able to knock it out. What did the Amungas do here? Did they just click Pollen Puff? No, he tried to Spore onto the Farigiraf, which is already asleep, but...
Making sure it stayed asleep.
Yeah, except here's the thing. Farigiraf is guaranteed to wake up on its next move.
Right, so we're going to get a Dazzling Gleam this turn. So do we keep the Dragonite in, or do you think that switches out for the King Gambit?
Well, we do see something from Grant on us to switch out, which is Tornadus coming in as a potential sacrificial blow. Farigiraf finally gets to wake up this turn. Dazzling Gleam, yeah, that's not a lot of damage. No. Even with a critical hit on the Amungus and the fact that it's super effective on the Dragonite, Tornadus goes down to an Aerial Ace. Grant definitely on the back foot.
Yeah, I don't know what his answer is for that Dragonite. That Dazzling Gleam doing so little, and then Spore puts the Farigiraf right back to sleep anyway. Just the Terra on that. Yeah, Farigiraf doesn't really have an answer for any of this.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, Rocky Helmet damage is nice, but your chip damage isn't really doing a lot, and you don't have any means of super effective damage onto the Dragonite or the Amungus, as a matter of fact, because of that Terra Water. And it's just left protecting again.
Yeah, I mean, the Protect extends the game, I suppose, and gives Farigiraf another chance to wake up, but... you gotta take that one turn of sleep, at least. Exactly, yeah, so... But even if it wakes up, I don't think it's doing enough damage to either of those Pokemon, unless double crits or something. I guess you gotta play it out still, though.
Well, there's a grass knot into the choreograph. It does damage based on its weight, and that's not a lot of weight. Ooh, good to know that a grass knot actually does deliver direct contact, which activates the Rocky helmet.
Yeah, I actually wonder about that. That seems like an interesting choice because Amoonguss wasn't taking much damage from anything else. That probably did more damage than either of the two attacks did.
Yeah, the grass knot actually did a pretty considerable amount of damage here. Flash cannon almost enough to knock out the dragon. I might put it in dazzling gleam range, or
do we get a wake up?
No, we do not get a wake up this turn. And I believe aerial ace into the heat trend will be another knockout, especially after a couple more life orb recoil damages. And down goes the Terra and the heat trend for Grant. And I do not know if Regraph just what it takes to get down this 1v4 situation as it tries to go for another score, trying to see if Regraph woke up.
Yeah, I don't think Frigraph's my Pokemon I'm going to want a 1v4 with, or 1v2, or really 1v anything. We'll see if it wakes up this turn, at least gets it as a gleam off that might knock out the Dragonite.
Definitely nowhere near enough for the Amoonguss here. It's going to switch out to get the Regenerator health back on as King Gambit once again comes back into play. That's a pretty safe Cactual Cleave to go for. Does get the wake up. Will it knock out the Dragonite from this range? And it does.
Does, yeah, but King Gambit doesn't get hurt too much by Dazzling Gleam, and Light Kick probably isn't going to do much either. So, the Amoonguss come back out, I assume. Yeah. Now, of course, Erik has a pretty safe play here to put the Frigraph right back to sleep again.
Or even Rage Powder, whatever Regraph has to do here. Just goes for the Sidekick into the Amoonguss, see how much damage it'll do. Yeah, it's not a whole lot of damage. And Cactual Cleave will just connect into this Regraph, will knock it out. Erik wins game one pretty convincingly.
Yeah, the Amoonguss actually, I think, did a pretty good job there, keeping everything asleep. Not a whole lot Grant can do when his Pokemon are asleep.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because like Grant's best answer to Amoonguss, and if it's Terra Waters, his only answer at that point was Rillaboom, which he didn't even bring. Yeah,
Rillaboom's interesting, because with Frigraph, Rillaboom can't use Grassy Glide, right?
I mean, it was an opposing for Regraph.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Yeah.
Armor Tail only affects one side of the field, not both.
The opponent's side. All right. Well, fair enough. We'll see. We'll see if he brings that this time. That Terra Water on Amoonguss, though, does seem like it was a really good choice.
Yeah, it got rid of so many weaknesses on an Amoonguss, and it actually just gave Grant a whole lot of trouble. But also on top of that, Dragon Energy almost couldn't really do a whole lot of damage to much of anything, because there was a King Gambit that just got a Defiant boost off Tornadus' Weakwind Storm getting the speed drop. Yeah.
Erik's Dragonite there was like Tinky Dragonite. It was very interesting. Like, it just basically stood there and absorbed everything and let the other stuff have a chance to do its work.
I mean, with that Assault Vest, you definitely are going to be taking a whole lot more hits.
Yeah, especially with Grant having a fair amount of special attack on his game. You say there wasn't any Rillaboom, which is big physical attacker. We'll see. It
definitely wouldn't have loved having to see the Chien-Pao, but if you had the Chien-Pao situation control, you probably would have loved to see it. And now let's see what the adaptation for Grant is if he were to get back into the set here. He is going to see. We'll bring out the Chien-Pao Amoonguss, and Grant just sends a Regidrago immediately, apart from last game.
Yeah, it might be a good play there because he gets to do that first turn Dragon Energy, and even if Amoonguss puts it to sleep, yeah, and that's true. Yeah, he does have a Focus Sash. That is obviously an answer on Erik's side there.
That is an answer, but I wonder how much damage a full-on Regidrago's Dragon Energy with all those boosts does to an Amoonguss, because if it does enough damage where it gets to get in range of something like the Tornadus' Weakwind Storm, or maybe even something like Heatran's Heat Wave in the later steps, it could be big. And Terra is going to be activating for, I believe, Erik at this very moment.
Is that the Amoonguss again?
It is.
It is, yeah. So obviously here, and with Grant protecting on the Regidrago, I don't know if he's just scouting there to see what's coming in, expecting a Spore maybe.
Could be, and that is Regidrago protecting. Definitely doesn't want to take an Ice Spinner right now, I'll say that much.
Oh, yeah, what's...
Sucker Punch was the move, actually, trying to weaken the Dragon Energy. And that's an extremely good punish for Grant, because you get the Tailwind up, and even if the Spore goes into the Tornadus, you can just bring in for Regraph. Yeah, you just get the Spore there. Well, that may matter for Tornadus in the future, but here's your problem. For Regraph can just come in, you can just get a free Dragon Energy off, Sucker Punch doesn't become available.
Now the question is, does he do it, or does he assume that Erik remembers the possibility of Regraph and then get a free turn of Tornadus trying to wake up?
No, well, Tornadoes isn't even get a chance to wake up because it has to take this guaranteed turn of sleep that is just been inflicted on.
Turn towards waking up in the future. It does look like he's going to swap it in now. Not going to take the risk that that Erik.
Well, he's taking the risk that Erik is going for another Sucker Punch to weaken the Dragon energy damage. Also, I see a Terra Poison being activated from Regidrago, so even if he does click Ice Spinner, it won't be doing a whole lot of damage anymore.
Yeah, it definitely helps there. We'll see. I think it's fast enough. Let's see.
And Terra Poison is actually an interesting adaptation for Regidragos. Usually you would see a Steel Terra at this point, but because more Regidragos are being helped against... Oh, there is no Sucker Punch, actually, so Dragon Energy does get to go off. That's a whole lot of damage to Amoonguss, and Chien-Pao goes down to its Focus Sash.
Yeah. We'll see whether whether we do that Ice Spinner. Probably will, and sort of expect that. But Amoonguss also has a chance to try to put the knowing the Friggraph was probably coming in, right? Maybe he puts it back to sleep again, or if he goes just into the Regidrago knowing it's probably not going to protect again.
And there's the Spore into the Regidrago, so it was a double up into it. Amoonguss took a whole lot of damage, but it got some of it back with the Citrus Berry, and now Regenerator could get back up, and Chien-Pao looking pretty good to switch out.
Yeah, he's going to have to, because otherwise that Dazzling Gleam is going to clear the field. Or at least of Chien-Pao. Probably won't take out Amoonguss, but it'll do quite a lot.
And we also saw how much that Ice Spinner did to the Regidrago. It's also not safe.
Yeah, we'll see. I have to assume he's going to Dazzling Gleam here, but does he keep it in, or do we find out what the fourth Pokemon is? And it looks like... say the Psychic would do a lot of damage to Amoonguss if it had Terrid. It's a Terrid. I don't know if it's going to do enough.
I mean, Psychic is probably one of your safer moves here. Chien-Pao just going to protect to make sure that sort of ruin, at least it stays on the field, so you get at least a chance to fight back. Regidrago will take its first turn of sleep here. For Regref, thankfully they click Psychic, so we'll be doing the most damage possible to this Amoonguss, which is not enough.
Not enough, yeah.
And then another Spore comes out, and that's 3 Pokemon for Grant to sleep.
His Pokemon are taking a nap. We'll see if Regidrago wakes up this turn. They'll have the Tailwind, so Regidrago is still going to move before the other Pokemon. Can't Sucker Punch because of Friggraph.
I think this is also the last turn to Tailwind for Grand as well, if I was counting the turns correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it could be a very valuable turn if he gets the Wake.
Yeah, if he gets the Wake, he could be a pistol double knockout with barring any switches, and Amoonguss definitely doesn't want to stay in there against something like that Dragon Energy. King Gambit would most likely prefer that.
Yeah, and Dragon Energy is good, but not going to happen. I don't think we're going to get to see it this game.
No, and that's Regidrago staying asleep here. Regref will take its first turn of sleep here. Chien-Pao gets a chance to do an attack this turn. Ice Spinner is a Regidrago, and down it goes.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Grant. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have anything to do with that sleep. I don't know. No, people aren't using Grass Terror anymore, I guess.
Amoonguss is just as bulky as ever because, well, there is Tailwind going away here. And it is Heatran left for Grant. I mean, at least the Amoonguss matchup is looking better because it took a lot more damage this game than the last, but I still think you're not in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously King Gambit is a little worried about the Heatran there. I'm surprised we didn't see the Rillaboom. He didn't bring the Rillaboom again this time.
I mean, if you're not bringing Rillaboom, you got to do a lot of damage towards this Heatran here, and that's so much damage with the Sacred Sword into the Steel type. Heat Wave does fortunately double connect here, and that's a double knockout!
Yeah, that does do a lot. So we got Amoonguss and something else to come back, but does the Amoonguss get to put anything to sleep? It's pretty slow. The Tailwind's gone, I believe, now.
Heatran only has one more turn because of that Life Orb recoil. Furrier takes another turn of sleep.
All right.
And the fortunate thing for Erik is that Tornadus is yet to take a turn of sleep, so if something gets knocked out, and Dragonite's the last one for Erik.
Ooh.
How much health does Amoonguss have after the Regenerator? That's a fairly decent amount, so you can't take a Psychic at least, but can you take 2 attacks?
Yeah, we'll see if Heat Wave connects. Heat Wave obviously, or oh, maybe he wants to just make sure the Amoonguss goes. Heat Wave is not 100%, especially with Friggraph possibly being asleep. Do you think Earth Power does enough?
I think it will if it gets doubled into, and remember this, Amoonguss does not have Protect.
True.
And that is Earth Power into the Amoonguss, and it is enough to knock it out. Oh, maybe the critical hit might have mattered.
There we go. So now we'll see. I think he clicks Psychic on the Friggraph, so it's not going to do a ton to the Dragonite if it does wake up.
And down goes Heatran to the Life Orb recoil. So it did its job fantastically here, and Farigha took its full 3 turns to sleep again.
Oh my goodness. So what's Dragonite going to do here? Just
Aerial Ace.
Yeah.
That's decent amount of damage, but it will take some back with the Rocky Helmet.
Yeah, and that's a 3-hit KO, it looks like. But Tornadus is going to come in and be asleep. It could set the Tailwind up again if they really wanted to. I don't think they really need to.
I don't think they can because, again, Tornadus is yet to take a turn to sleep.
Yeah.
Farigha has to wake up this turn. So now it just comes down to how valuable that Assault Vest on the Dragonite becomes.
Yeah, and we saw how little damage the Farigha was able to do last game with Dazzling Gleam.
That's a fair amount.
That was more this, yeah.
And another Aerial Ace into Farigha. That's a critical hit, but it's not even enough to knock out the Farigha.
And then you see the Rocky Helmet damage again. So does Tornadus wake up this turn, I wonder?
Dazzling Gleam is just doing a whole lot of damage, and it does wake up. Does it connect the Bleakwind Storm? It does.
And that may be enough for the Dazzling Gleam to finish the Dragonite. I think we've been seeing the Farigha go first.
And it is.
So
we're going to game 3. Thanks to Grant Weldon's wake-up turns coming in after he had 3 Pokemon asleep at some point.
I guess they got really good rest. They must have stayed at the Holiday Inn Express last night.
I mean, certainly Santa must have given them a great gift and their dreams.
Well, we'll see in round 3. I'm curious if Grant's going to come in with those same 4 again and just hope that he survives the sleep turns, or if we see Rillaboom or Urshifu, which we haven't seen a lick of.
Or if Grant does, or if Erik does anything different, because like the Kingambit one hit knocked out by a Heat Wave with the Life Orb, and that's kind of concerning.
Yeah, the Mungus was the big counter to Heatran in the first game.
And Regidrago beat it.
Yep. Yeah, Regidrago was able to get off that Dragon Energy and do not knock out the Mungus, but at least do enough damage that the Mungus couldn't hang out and had to leave and go get its Regenerator turn. So we'll see if this time, if we see another first turn Regidrago go straight into the Dragon Energy, or if we see a little bit different choices here from Grant. I'd be really curious to see Rillaboom. I want to see what Rillaboom does against this team.
I mean, I wouldn't imagine it does much now that I think about it, because there are 3 Pokemon that are super effective against it: the Chien-Pao, the Ogerpon, and the Dragonite.
True, and it is Terra Grass, so it can't really fix that. So I'm sure that's why he's not bringing it. But being locked into sort of just bringing those 4, not bringing Rilla, not bring Urshifu.
I mean, Urshifu I understand because of the Ogerpon and Dragonite.
Right.
And the fact that Amoonguss can just take it for granted.
Yeah, it looks like he's at least considering repeating game 2, which
I don't think he has much of a choice, because Regidrago's been his win condition for all of these games. And every time he's gotten the Dragon Energy offer massive damage, it's been what's been winning him the game. And going into this game 3, I think it's going to be detrimental that he keeps the Regidrago up.
Yeah, we'll see if Erik brings the same first 2. I could easily see him bringing a slightly different set to deal with, especially if he brought, say, Dragonite and Extreme Speed into Regidrago, because he knows the Farigha's probably not coming out.
No, but we're going to see the exact same leads from game 2.
We'll see if Erik gets a better result from this one than he did in game 2.
I could see like something different happening here with the Tornadus, and it could just be going for something like that Bleakwind Storm here, but instead we're going to see Grant going really aggressive on this turn.
Well, he knows that Amoonguss is his lose condition, so he's like, you know what, I'm going to take care of Amoonguss. And is it going to Terra again? Or is this our...
That's Regidrago Terra Poison.
Okay.
And that does combat Ice Spinner, but I don't know how much Sucker Punch does to a Chien-Pao, from Chien-Pao to Regidrago, because of the fact that Sword of Ruin is up and available. Erik does Terra something, and it has to be the Amoonguss at this point, because Chien-Pao had a chance to it and was outsped.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Amoonguss Terra, we sort of all knew that was coming. So the question is, how much does Draco Meteor do to a Water-type Amoonguss?
Oh, his Draco Meteor is doing a whole lot of damage. Sucker Punch lands into the Regidrago. There's around half health. Tornadus gets off the Tailwind now. It comes down to what does Regidrago do. If his Dragon Energy is not knocking out anything right now, it's Draco, and it lands into the Amoonguss. That should be a one-hit knockout, and it is!
So, yeah, so I think Grant this time said, you know what, I'm not going to lose to sleep. I might lose to something else. I'm not going to lose to sleep this game.
And that is Erik's Terra, more importantly, gone from the rest of the game and the rest of the set.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he has an answer to this. See if he brings Kingambit now, maybe, or Dragonite. I don't know what's in the back. That's what's been in the back the last 2 games. I don't know. I don't know what I would do sitting here, though. Right? I mean, Kingambit does a lot, but with Regidrago going first, seems pretty dangerous. Dragonite would be even worse though, right? Because bring Dragonite in and then, you know, you can't Terra Normal because the Terra's already gone. So Draco Meteor would do a huge amount to Regidrago, or to Dragonite.
Yeah, no, that's like something big that Erik now needs to play without, because if he had the Amoonguss, he has so many free reigns to go for, like the place of Spore, and now Regidrago's in a spot where it's like it's not doing a whole lot of damage, although Dragon Energy can still do respectable damage to Chien-Pao. You gotta worry about for Regraph, for Grants, because Armor Tail can stop Sucker Punches altogether, so it just... Erik's gotta get this correct.
Does Earth Power do more than Draco Meteor with all those Dragon moves?
I wouldn't think so because of the -2 special attack drop it took from the Draco Meteor. Tornadus just gonna switch out, and in comes the Regraph. Make sure Sucker... Oh no, it's Heatran!
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if he's reading that, you know, because obviously the switch out was pretty obvious. But the switch out to the Heatran, not obvious.
Protect on the Chien-Pao, gonna protect it from this Dragon Energy here. I don't think this is doing a whole lot of damage to this Kingambit here. Yeah.
Just a little bit of chip.
Yeah, just a little bit here. Kowtow Cleave into the Heatran. How much is it doing? Oh, that's a lot of damage with that Black Glasses.
Did a lot, but Heatran gets the Heat Wave here, and I think it'll definitely go first, given...
Sucker Punch.
It does have Sucker Punch, but he can do something about Sucker Punch. We'll see if he decides to do something about Sucker Punch, or if he keeps the Regidrago on. Switching out the Regidrago wouldn't be the worst idea, because that'll get rid of that special attack drop.
It wouldn't be at all, and yeah, it is going to be in a play that Grant's more likely going for. Yeah.
It is a little obvious of a play, though, so I don't know if Grant, like, sometimes the obvious play is the right play.
Or sometimes the obvious play could be red, and Chien-Pao does have Sacred Sword, and that is going to be the locking in for the Regidrago. Going to reset his drops, and will send in to Regraph to stop the Sucker Punches. Now has to worry if he gets knocked out by something like Sucker Punch. Heat Wave, excuse me. And Chien-Pao going to switch out. Hopefully, first we're going to focus that for a later turn. In comes the Dragonite.
Yeah, and I think we'll see...
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to see Heat Wave here. Obviously, it's not going to do a whole lot to Dragonite.
And Kingambit, most importantly, protected that turn, so it won't take as much damage as they got one shot the previous time. Dragonite doesn't take a whole lot thanks to the Assault Vest and the resistant typing. Heat Wave, and that's a Life Orb damage into the Heatran.
But because there's no Amoonguss now, we don't have the Sleep. For Graph's Awake, it gets Dazzling Gleam. Heatran's Awake, gets the Heat Wave. We get to see what these really powerful moves do here. And we still have one more turn of Tailwind, I believe?
Yeah, and it should be the last turn of Tailwind, so it's now or never for this Kingambit to at least try to maneuver around this. And yep, you're going to let Chien-Pao take the fall up here because you have a Focus Sash at the very least if you manage to survive both of these hits.
Yeah, I think Chien-Pao needs Heat Wave to miss here. See if that happens.
Oh, their power instead, just going to guarantee the damage onto the Kingambit slot, so that's a lot of damage to the Chien-Pao. It will fall to this last Dazzling Gleam, so Sword of Ruin is officially gone from the game, and Erik's in trouble right now with the Kingambit and Dragonite in the back.
So if Kingambit's going to come in now, the question is, does Kingambit protect? Well, I guess the Heat Wave is gone now, so we'll see what Regidrago does damaged, but it still has Draco Meteor available.
Still has Draco Meteor available, which should be a knockout into the Dragonite. I guess the question just becomes, how do you deal with this Kingambit for later? Because Kowtow Cleave will probably be a knockout into the Regraph, and definitely gets a knockout into Regidrago from that range.
Yeah, Draco Meteor is going to go first here, so if he wants to remove Dragonite from the board, he can. If he wants to remove Kingambit, probably. But he probably loses Regidrago to the other one, I'm guessing.
Dragon Energy going to be the... I mean, Dragon Energy still should be doing respectable damage to the... in that HP range, I would assume so, at least.
Oh, yeah. Maybe with the Dazzling Gleam, I would think that'd be enough. Maybe even without it.
Okay, now Grant's going to lock in his moves. I think Erik's just in a tough spot because you can't Sucker Punch the Regidrago for the knockout. All you can do is hope that your Pokemon survive and get the damage off here. Dragon Energy into this Dragonite. Not enough to knock out either Pokemon. Dragonite came very close to it.
Yeah, the Dazzling Gleam, though, is going to be enough to finish this. And we know that Regraph goes before Dragonite.
Yeah, and now it's just Kingambit versus the world right now. Dragonite does go down here. I think Kingambit is going to take a knockout here no matter what here. And that's a Kowtow Cleave into Regidrago. And now we're down to Tornadus and Regraph for Grant and Erik. Just down to Kingambit.
If I'm going to be down to one Pokemon, I don't mind being down to Kowtow Cleave Kingambit. But we'll see how many times Bleak Wind Storm misses here is the real question.
Or how much damage it's going to be taking, because even though Weakness source resisted hit. It's doing a lot of more damage because this now is a single target move because there's no ally for Erik anymore.
Yeah, and Dazzling Gleam also, you know, not the best move against King Gambit, but also single target, so.
Oh boy, that's a speed drop. That's going to be big if it gets to knockout on something because that means Sucker Punch gets a lot more dangerous. King Gambit is able to survive the Dazzling Gleam. Counter quick. Oh, wait a minute. Does it survive the Rocky Helmet? It is going to knock out the free grab, and it does not!
Oh, Rocky Helmet finishes it off. That Rocky Helmet's putting in a lot of work there.
That was a close call, but Grant ends up winning the set 2-1 because of the Rocky Helmet from the Farika ref showing it's not just there to sit around. It can do some work.
Yeah, I think that game showed showed that choice he made at the very beginning to say, you know, I'm going to remove Mungus from the field. I don't want to deal with any of the sleep stuff. Turned out to be pretty good in the end. He didn't have to worry about that. He got all those Dazzling Gleams off. He got all those Heatran, you know, got to do all of its attacks without having to worry about being sleep.
Yeah, that was pretty much the end of the game right there for Erik, and that's, I think, Grant going to 3-0 right now, I believe, if my memory serves correct. But we're going to take another break here. We'll have round 4 coming up after the short break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching.